Hello, welcome to the edition of the Daf Yomi, Tractate Masechet Beķhorot Daf 50 A&B. Rabbi Yehuda says that Rav Ashi says, every sum of money stated in the Torah, every sum of money mentioned in the Torah with regard to rape, seduction, slander, killing a slave, and redemption of firstborn son is to be paid in shekels, which are pure silver. The sages say these amounts must be paid by the weight of a seller in use during the Second Temple period. The sums established by rabbinic law refer to coinage that existed at the time of the sages, which was worth 1/8 of the value of the money stated in the Torah. Rambam Sefer Mishpatim Hilchot Toran V'Nitan 3:2 and Sefer Nashem Hilchot Yushut 10:8 Shulchan Aruch Mishpat 420:42. We're specifying that it is in shekels, referring to silver dinars of Tyrian coinage, which have a high value, and every mention of coins and statements of the sages referring to a provincial coinage. And what's that? Kesef Medina, provincial coinage. The Rambam indicates that the provincial coinage refers to the coins in circulation in Eretz Yisrael during the period of the Mishnah. If in the Zichin Hilchot Hovel Mazik 3:10. By contrast, one of the Gaonim writes that provincial coinage is Persian money, as the Talmud was edited during the reign of the Persians in Babylon. That's from the Oda Hagaonim Kedushin 57. According to the second opinion, the term provincial coinage refers to the coin used in each generation in a particular time and place, which is worth roughly 1/8 of Tyrian coinage. The Gemara challenges, it is an established principle that all money mentioned in the Torah is a silver dinar of... Start again. The Gemara challenges, and is it an established principle that all money mentioned in the Torah is a silver dinar of Tyrian coinage? But there is the case of one who admits to part of a claim. So what does that mean? Harei ta'ano. According to Rashi on Kedushin 11b, the difficulty is that this case indicates that the money mentioned in the Torah does not have a specific value. Rather, it means money in general, which is why the sages determined with regard to a claim that money of significance is required, i.e. tuma'ah. But if the meaning of money in the Torah is a coin, then if the Torah states money here in the singular, why isn't one ma'ah enough? Rashi's teachers explain, and this is probably Rashi's opinion here as well, that the question is as follows. Since the smallest Tyrian coin is the dinar, why is the claim of 2 silver ma'ah, which is 1/3 of a dinar, sufficiently significant as a claim rather than the dinar itself? See Tosfot and Shita Mechubeh says that he has not returned a deposit or a loan. Where is it written? If a man deliver to his neighbor money or vessels to guard and it is stolen out of the man's house, the court of both parties shall come before the judges. Exodus 22:6-8. This teaches that the case is brought to a court where the defendant must take an oath. And we learned in a Mishnah with regard to one who admits to part of a claim in Shavuot 38b, the oath administered by the judges to who one who admits to part of a claim is administered only when the claim is for at least 2 silver ma'ah. Shavuos hatayonin hata'ana shitei kesef. An oath administered by the judges is administered only when the claim is for at least 2 silver ma'ah. One who admits to part of a claim made against him is required to take an oath only if the claim is worth at least 2 ma'ah, and if the dependent admits to a loan at least 1 pruta. And that's the Rambam Sefer Mishpatim Hilchot Toran V'Nitan 3:1-2, Shulchan Aruch Mishpat 88:1. And the defendant's admission is to at least the value of 1 pruta. If every sum of money mentioned in the Torah is referring to Tyrian coinage, how did the sage arrive at the amount of tumah in this case? The Gemara explains, there the halacha is derived from the juxtaposition as the money is mentioned in the verse similar to vessels. Just as the word vessels indicates at least 2, so to money is referring to at least 2 coins. And just as money is a significant item, i.e. silver ma'ah, so too the vessels must be a significant item. But Rashi, by contrast, is referring to mention of money where there is no juxtaposition. The Gemara challenges, but there is the case of the redemption of the second tithe, Masa Sheni. Second tithe is set aside after the tomb has been given to the priest, and the first tithe to the Levite. Second tithe was given during the first, second, fourth, and fifth years of the sabbatical cycle. After the second tithe was separated, it was brought to Jerusalem, where it was eaten by its owner. If the journey to Jerusalem was long, rendering the transporting of the produce there difficult, or produce became ritually impure, it could be redeemed for an equivalent sum of money. If the owner redeemed his own produce, he was obligated to add 1/5 of its value to the price of the redemption. He then took the money to Jerusalem, where it was spent on food to be eaten within the city walls. Today, in the absence of the temple, since ritual purification is impossible and second tithe may not be eaten in impurity, it is no longer brought to Jerusalem. It is redeemed for a nominal sum and can be eaten. The halachot of second tithe are discussed in Tractate Maaseh Sheni. As it is written, and bind up the money in your hand, Deuteronomy 14:25, and yet we learn in the Mishnah, in Maaseh Sheni 2:8, with regard to one who exchanges copper coins of the second tithe money for a seller. So what's the fun? A poet seller b'ma'as Maaseh Sheni, one who exchanges a seller of second tithe coins, whether inside or outside Jerusalem, may not exchange all of it for copper coins, but must exchange a shekel, i.e., 1/2 of a seller for a silver ma'ah, and a shekel for copper coins. This halacha, according to the opinion of Beit Hillel in Mishnah Maaseh Sheni 2:8, explained by the Rambam and Sefer Nizarayim, Hilchot Maaseh Sheni 5:14. Beit Shammai say he may exchange the copper coins for the entire silver seller. This Mishnah indicates that second tithe money mentioned in the Torah can be in the form of copper coins and is not required to be in the form of silver coins. The Gemara explains that the verse states money using the term more than once. This serves as an amplification. In other words, this addition teaches that second tithe money can be in any coinage, including copper coins. The Gemara challenges, but there is the case of consecrated property as it is written, and he will give the money and it will be assured to him. In Leviticus 27:19, and Shmuel says, with regard to consecrated property worth 100 dinars, which was redeemed. So what's the footnote? Hekdesh Shabbat Mana Shechilo. Consecrated property that is not consecrated to be sacrificed on the altar may be redeemed if one exchanges it for an item of equal value. After the fact, the item is redeemed and loses its sanctity, even if one redeemed it for another item worth less than the first item's value. This is the halacha even if the item was worth 100 dinars and was redeemed for another item worth 1 putta. And that's the Rambam Sefer Haflah, Hilchot Avichim V'Rachim 7:8. For an item worth 1 putta, it is redeemed. Although the word money is stated in the Torah, a copper putta may be used. The Gemara answers, there too, there is a reason for this unusual halacha, as he derives this ruling from a verbal analogy using the term holy, mentioned here, and holy from the second tithe, see Leviticus 27:14-31. Consequently, one may use any type of coin in cases where the Gemara challenges. But there is the case of the betrothal of a woman. So what's the footnote? Kedusha Isha. A woman is betrothed with a pruta, with an item that is worth a pruta, in accordance with the opinion of Beit Hillel and Kedusha 2a. Rambam Sefer Nashim Hilchot Yishud 3:1, Shulchan Aruch Eben Ezer 27:1. As it is written, then she shall go out for nothing without money, in Exodus 21:11. So what does that mean? V'yasach chinam in kesef. This verse, in a straightforward sense, refers to a Hebrew maidservant and teaches she goes free from her master without needing to pay for her freedom. Gemara and Kedushin 4b infers from this verse that there is no money for this master, but there is money for a different master, i.e. a father. When a free girl leaves her father's jurisdiction via betrothal, he has authority over his daughter like a master, and is therefore entitled to the betrothal money. This interpretation appears to be the source for the Gemara's assumption here that this verse refers to betrothal. And yet we learned in a mission condition 2a that Beit Shammai say that one can betrothal with 1 dinar, or with an item that is worth 1 dinar, and Beit Hillel say that one can betrothal a woman with 1 pruta, or with any item that is worth 1 pruta. If so, shall we say that Ravasi, who claims that all sums of money mentioned in the Torah are in Tyrrhenian coinage, stated his opinion according to the opinion of Beit Shammai, even though the halacha is according to the opinion of Beit Hillel. The Gemara suggests an alternative explanation. Rather, if this was stated, it was stated like this. Rabbi Yehuda says that Ravasi says, every set amount of money stated in the Torah, i.e. when a specific amount is mentioned, such as the 50 shekels paid by a rapist, Deuteronomy 22:29, is referring to Tyrrhenian coinage, and any amount of money set by rabbinic law is a provincial coinage. The Gemara asks, if so, what is Ravasi teaching us? We already learned all of these halachot explicitly in the Mishnah. The payment of 5 seller for the redemption of a firstborn son, the 30 for a Canaanite slave killed by an ox, the 50 of a rapist and a seducer, and the 100 of a slanderer are all paid in the shekel of the sanctuary, which is determined based on Turanian coinage. The Gemara answers, it was necessary for Rashi to clarify that payments mentioned in the statements of the sages are referring to provincial coinage, as the halacha was not taught in the Mishnah. As we learned in the Mishnah in Bava Kama 90a, the sages established that one who strikes another. What does that mean? One who strikes another. Rashi suggests two explanations of the word tokeya. It refers either to one who shouts in the ear of another or to one who smacks him on the head near the ear. Others maintain that it means one who claps his hands in a mocking gesture, and that's from Rabbeinu Baruch on Bava Kama 36b. Alternatively, hatokeya refers to hitting another with the palm of his hand, and that's the Ram Sefer Nezichin Umazik 3.9. One who strikes another with the palm of his hand is required to pay a seller in provincial coinage, which is 1/2 of a silver dinar. This halacha is in accordance with the opinion of the first Tana in the Mishnah on Bava Kama 98. Ram Sefer Nezichin Umazik 3.9 Shulchan Aruch Mishpat 1 and 2041. As an act of disrespect, must give him a seller as a fine for striking him. And Rashi teaches, do not say that this seller is a Turanian seller worth 4 dinars, rather it is a seller of provincial coinage, which is worth 1/2 a dinar, as people commonly call a 1/2 dinar by the name seller. The Gemara relates that Hanan the wicked struck a certain man. He came before Rav Huna for judgment. Rav Huna said to him, go and give him 1/2 a dinar, which is the fine imposed for such an action. We'll leave it there. That's the end of the Omen. Thank you for listening and wish you all the best. Bye.